There are moments in life when everything feels too heavy. Moments when you look back and see only effort, attempts, falls, and paths that did not lead where you expected. Maybe you have already asked yourself why some people seem to have everything easier while you have to fight for every small step. Maybe you have already felt that life is being too hard on you. And in those moments, a silent question echoes inside your mind. Why is everything so difficult? Sometimes it feels like you are giving your best, and even so, things still do not happen the way they should. You try, insist, start again, but the results always seem distant. Meanwhile, the world keeps spinning, people continue with their routines, and you are left with the feeling that you are fighting a battle that no one can see. The hardest part is not just facing the obstacles. The hardest part is dealing with the doubt that appears within you. That silent voice that asks whether you are truly capable. That feeling that maybe you are walking in the wrong direction. That restlessness that appears when everything seems uncertain. And then there are the quiet days. Those days when you wonder if all this effort will really be worth it. Days when motivation feels weak, hope feels distant, and the only thing you can do is keep walking even without fully understanding why. But there is something very important that many people only realize years later. Some of the most difficult phases of life are actually the ones that transform us the most. The problem is that while we are in the middle of the storm, it is almost impossible to see it that way. When pain is present, when challenges seem endless, when everything feels uncertain, the human mind tends to focus only on the weight of the moment. It is like being inside a maze. When you are inside it, everything feels confusing. The paths seem to have no exit. The walls seem to block every direction. But when someone looks from the outside, they can see the entire design. Life works in a similar way. There are phases that only make sense when you look back. Phases that, at the moment they happen, seem unfair, harsh, and even unnecessary. But with time they reveal something surprising. Because many times what seemed like a delay was actually preparation. What seemed like a loss was opening space for something better. What seemed like an ending was simply changing the direction of your story. Think about how many people today carry stories of overcoming that began precisely in difficult moments. Moments when everything seemed lost. Moments when they thought about giving up. The difference between those who go far and those who stop along the way is often not talent, luck, or circumstances. It is the silent decision to continue. To continue even when no one is applauding. To continue even when no one notices the effort. To continue even when the results have not appeared yet. Because some achievements take time. Some transformations happen slowly. And some answers in life only appear after a lot of persistence. The problem is that we live in a world that values quick results. Everything needs to happen now. Everything needs to work out immediately. And when that does not happen, many people start to believe that something is wrong with them. But the truth is that the deepest processes in life do not obey the world's hurry. They follow their own rhythm. A silent, patient rhythm that is often invisible. Think of a large and strong tree. Before it grows toward the sky, it spends a long time developing deep roots. During this period, someone looking from the outside might even think that nothing is happening. But beneath the ground, something powerful is being built. Roots are growing stronger. The structure is being prepared. The foundation is being formed to support something greater. And when the time finally comes to grow, that tree does not grow in a fragile way. It grows with stability, strength, and resilience. Many life stories follow this exact same principle. There are phases when you are creating roots. Phases when life is teaching you things that you may not yet realize. It is teaching you patience. It is teaching you resilience. It is teaching you to trust yourself. These lessons are not always easy. Sometimes they arrive through frustrations, mistakes, or unexpected challenges. But every experience leaves something within you. Every difficulty builds a new layer of strength. Every obstacle you overcome proves that you are more capable than you once imagined. And one day when you look back, you will realize something very important. If everything had been easy, you might not have become the person you are today. Difficulties shape character. They reveal what exists within us. They show what we are made of when circumstances stop being favorable. There are people who only discover their true strength when life demands more from them. People who never imagined they would be able to endure certain situations, until one day they had to face them. And then they realize that even with fear, even with doubts, they can still move forward. Life rarely follows exactly the script we imagine. Plans change. Paths transform. Some doors close when we least expect them. At first, these changes may seem unfair. They may seem like obstacles that are preventing your happiness. But many times they are simply redirecting your journey. Because not everything you lose is truly a loss. Some losses are hidden liberations. Some doors close precisely to prevent you from remaining in places that are no longer meant for you. Some goodbyes open space for encounters that have not happened yet. Some difficulties prepare you for opportunities that have not arrived yet. The problem is that while we are living through the difficult moment, we still cannot see the full picture. We only see the effort, the exhaustion, and the uncertainty. But life has a curious way of revealing its meaning over time. What seems confusing today may become clear tomorrow. What feels heavy today may turn into learning tomorrow. What feels unfair today may reveal a purpose tomorrow. One day you will look back and understand why certain things had to happen exactly the way they did. Maybe it will not be tomorrow. Maybe it will not be next week. Sometimes it takes years for some answers to appear clearly. But there comes a moment in life when the pieces begin to fit together. Suddenly, what once seemed like just a series of meaningless difficulties begins to form a bigger picture. A picture that, while you were living through each stage, was impossible to see. In that moment of understanding, you begin to realize that many of the paths that went wrong were actually just diverting you from places that were not truly meant for you. Paths that seemed promising, but that might have led you to a smaller version of yourself. And then a curious realization appears. If some things had happened exactly the way you wanted at that time, perhaps today you would not be where you are. Perhaps you would have remained in situations that would not have allowed your growth. Perhaps you would have accepted a smaller reality than what you truly deserve to live. Life often protects us in ways that at first look like frustration. That opportunity that did not work out. That plan that fell apart. That door that suddenly closed. At the moment, all of this feels like loss. It feels unfair. It feels like an obstacle placed in your path exactly when you were trying to move forward. But as time passes, something changes in the way you see those moments. You begin to realize that some of the biggest redirections in your life came precisely from those unexpected moments. Moments that seemed like setbacks but were actually just changing your route. It is like driving down a road and suddenly finding a blockage ahead. In that instant, you feel frustrated. You think you are wasting time. You believe that obstacle is only delaying your journey. But when you find another path and continue along it, you discover landscapes you would never have seen if you had stayed on the original route. Life does something similar with us. It changes our paths, alters our plans, and sometimes dismantles what we believed was the right destination. Not because it wants to frustrate us, but because many times we are trying to reach places that do not match our true potential. Some difficulties appear precisely to move us away from limited versions of our own story. And when you finally understand this, something inside you changes deeply. The resentment that once existed begins to dissolve. The question, "Why did this happen to me?" begins to be replaced by a much more powerful one. What was this experience trying to teach me? This shift in perspective changes everything. Because when you start looking at your own story with more depth, you realize that every phase had a role. Every difficulty brought a lesson. Every moment of uncertainty strengthened something inside you. Maybe it strengthened your patience. Maybe it developed your courage. Maybe it taught you to trust yourself more. There are lessons that only arrive through experience. No advice, no book, no explanation can replace what life itself teaches us when we are placed in front of real challenges. It is by facing difficult moments that you discover what you are truly capable of. It is by dealing with uncertainty that you learn to develop confidence. It is by going through phases of doubt that you learn to find clarity within yourself. And all of this quietly accumulates over time. Sometimes you do not even notice that you are changing. You do not notice that you are maturing. You do not notice that you are becoming stronger. But that transformation is happening. Every decision you make to continue, even when it would be easier to give up, strengthens something within you. Every time you get back up after a fall, you build a new layer of resilience. Every obstacle you overcome leaves an invisible mark that turns into experience, wisdom, and maturity. And then a moment comes when you look back and realize that the person you were years ago is no longer the same. The fear that once seemed enormous now seems small. The difficulty that once seemed impossible now feels like just a stage that has been overcome. The pain that once felt endless has now become part of a story of growth. This happens because time has an extraordinary power. It does not simply pass. It transforms. It reorganizes our memories, expands our understanding, and allows us to see our own experiences in a broader way. Things that once seemed completely negative begin to reveal positive sides that you could not see while you were in the middle of the situation. And it is at this point that many people experience one of the greatest realizations of life. They realize that the difficulties were not enemies of their journey. They were part of the preparation, part of the construction, part of the process that was shaping the person you needed to become in order to live what was still ahead. Because imagine for a moment what it would be like to receive great opportunities without being prepared for them. Imagine achieving certain dreams without having developed enough maturity to sustain them. Many times what we call delay is simply preparation time. Time to develop emotional strength. Time to learn how to handle greater responsibilities. Time to mature the mind and the heart. Life rarely gives great things to people who are not yet ready to carry them. That is why some journeys seem long. Some paths seem difficult. Some stages seem to require more patience than we would like. But when we finally reach the point of understanding the entire process, we realize that every phase had a purpose. Nothing was completely wasted. Nothing was completely useless. Even the moments of pain contributed to shaping the person you are today. And this realization brings something very powerful: peace. A peace that comes when you understand that your story was not just a sequence of random events. It was a journey of growth. A journey that, even with difficult moments, was guiding you toward a more aware, stronger, and more prepared version of yourself. And when that understanding finally arrives, you realize something you might never have imagined during the hardest moments. You realize that if you could go back in time and change everything, perhaps you would not. Because it was exactly through those experiences that you became who you are today. It was through those difficulties that your strength was built. It was through those challenging phases that your vision of life became deeper. And then you finally understand. You understand why it was so difficult. You understand why it took so long. You understand why certain paths had to end. And above all, you understand that every step of your journey was leading you exactly to the place where you needed to arrive. You will realize that some difficulties were protecting you from the wrong paths. You will realize that some delays were preparing you for something greater. You will realize that some pains were building a strength that you did not yet have. And in that moment, something changes inside you. Resentment turns into understanding. The weight turns into wisdom. And what once seemed like pure suffering becomes part of your story of growth. Because the greatest transformations in life rarely happen in moments of comfort. They happen when we are challenged to grow, when we are pushed out of our comfort zone, when we are forced to find strengths that we did not even know existed. And it is exactly in those moments that life begins to reveal something powerful. It shows you that you are stronger than you imagined, more resilient than you thought, more capable than you believed. So if today you are going through a difficult phase, try to remember something important. Not all the chapters of your story have been written yet. What you are living now may be just part of the process, a stretch of the journey that is still being built, a chapter that, in the future, you may tell as the moment that transformed you the most. Keep moving forward. Keep trying. Keep believing even when hope sometimes feels small, because life can still surprise you. And one day, perhaps in a simple and quiet moment, you will look back and finally understand. You will understand why it was so difficult. You will understand why certain paths did not work out. You will understand why certain doors closed. You will understand why some battles had to be fought. And in that instant, you will realize something incredible. Everything that once seemed to break you was actually shaping you. Everything that once seemed to delay you was preparing you. Everything that once seemed like only pain was building a stronger version of you. And then, with a more mature heart and a clearer mind, you will realize that every difficulty had a role in building your story. Because in the end, life was not trying to destroy you. It was trying to prepare you for something you still could not imagine. And that is why you cannot give up now. Because what today seems like just a difficult moment may be exactly the chapter that one day you will be grateful to have lived.